today's live reading. If you guys wanted to be able to donate to the channel or purchase a question, you can find my Cash App, PayPal, and Amazon wish list in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for doing that, or for any other support you show my channel, like liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. All of that stuff really helps out. So thank you guys for that. And let's get started with this reading today. You may be looking back on the past a lot lately and some of the situations that have happened and starting to make more peace with the past and how it culminated. Don't look back now, one step at a time, keep moving forward. Strange feelings, foreign thoughts. There's definitely some situations that you need to, if people have not been answering you or they have not been showing you the same level of care or love that you've been showing them, it's time to stop picking up that phone, whether it be to call them or to answer their call. If the only time they're calling is because they need something from you, but they're not answering their phone when you're calling them, then, you know, that really is not something very reciprocal. Somebody may be hiding a lot of their feelings. Hi, Samya. Nice to see you today. You're welcome, and thank you too. They may actually have a really hard time as well looking in your eyes, so they may keep their gaze averted, or they may wear sunglasses a lot, or something along those lines, so they don't really have to show what's actually going on inside, because they may feel like you can see everything very clearly when it comes to looking at them. Someone can also be fighting to escape an addiction of some sort as well, and really having a hard time dealing with that. Your stubbornness is something that's going to win out for you. The drive that you have and the fact that you never really give up. There's a lot of luck and abundance coming your way. A lot of it is very connected to your emotions and being able to express them. And also being able to cleanse your energy. What's up? So, have the confidence to break your silence. You never know what may be lost without your voice. So for some of you, there might actually be situations as well where you have ended contact in some way. And you might be having some sort of thoughts or feelings about that situation. And there could actually be something that you're being called to break your silence on. There's been once or twice in the past where I really had a strong feeling that I needed to get a hold of somebody in particular, even though I hadn't talked to them in a long time. And, you know, sometimes life's more peaceful without certain people around you. And come to find out, the biggest reason I was feeling like that is because they were in a suicidal energy at the time. So there could definitely be certain situations that would benefit from hearing your voice in some sort of way. Reconciling, coming back together, reciprocity, equality, equal give and take, fond memories, root work. So now's a good time as well. Before you decide to make that call, it's a good time to really work on your root chakra, work on your confidence, your stability, on knowing that you have everything inside of you that you need. And really letting go of the outcomes of situations and allowing things to be what they are without it causing you to feel less than as a person. Because a lot of times what causes a lot of problems between humans is when they are feeling less than in some way. And, yes, a lot of times that has to do with what other people are doing around us, but it's also all inside of us. And We can choose whether or not we are going to let that affect our self-esteem and who we are as a person, which is extremely hard to do, and I still have points in time where it does affect me more than I would like it to. So if it's affecting you in that way, I mean, don't feel like you're somehow failing or something either, because that's not necessarily the case. Getting outside could be extremely good for you at this time. And getting some extra sleep is going to be very beneficial too, especially if you're dealing with a lot energetically. So, let's see what other messages our guides have for us today. Love. Love isn't something that you can see. Love doesn't cost a fee. Give your love with all your heart. Don't stop, even if you part. Love is something unconditional. It isn't always something rational. In loving another, you love their scars. Reaching deeply, you're counting stars. Never let them lay those on you, but love is there to get them through. Love is in all the kindness you see. Love truly can set your heart free. Patience is a big part. Understanding is an art. Compassion fills your heart and mind. Love does not ask you to bind. Empathy fills you up inside. Forgiveness also comes along for the ride. If you love yourself enough to speak your piece, to know what you deserve, and release. You also know love can be from afar, hope still shining like a star. Sometimes love is painful too, especially if a lover was untrue. Don't allow a painful past to last. Out of your soul that poison was cast. 11/11/20. So, in moving forward towards new romantic relationships after letting go of old ones, there's going to be a lot of times where those old wounds creep up and trigger you in some sort of way. So looking at those old wounds and whether or not they are fully healed is going to be very beneficial before jumping to conclusions without really exploring the situation. And sometimes it can also give you a greater discernment when it comes to dealing with situations like that as well, where you can kind of almost see it coming and you kind of know what's up before it even happens. At the same time, that's not when you're in a lower vibrational energy either, because at that point, everything around you that you see is pretty much something that's there to attack you in some sort of way. But once you're able to pull your energy back to yourself and be in a more peaceful, calm energy, then generally you have the ability to be able to pick up on the truth of the situation a lot more. You may not be able to see everything, but there's a lot that you can see. There's also a need to remember to give that love without expectation, without the need to hold on to or cling to that love, but with allowing it to be something that unfolds naturally, not feeling like you need to control that love and how it's playing out. Being able to address the issues, yes, but at the same time, not really feeling like you need to steer the ship on an all-the-time basis, which sometimes can be extremely hard to do, especially if you've had a lot of heartbreak in the past. Open doors. Kiss me now, kiss me hard. Sing a tune like a bard. Candles, flowers, date night too. Romance me with something new. No more nights spent alone. Somewhere new to call my home. My heart is open and ready for you. Don't be a disappointment too. So, it's time to open your heart and open the door to the possibilities around you. It doesn't mean all of them are going to be good, and it doesn't mean that every direction you decide to walk down is going to pan out with something amazing. But what it means is, even though you've been hurt, you're never going to give up on the idea that you might actually be able to make something work. So you continue to learn and grow and explore until you find that space that feels like home. Also remember that you really shouldn't let your loneliness choose for you either. Loneliness can cause you to step into situations sometimes because you feel like you need someone around you and you just don't want to be alone anymore. So you'd be more willing to put up with a lot of things that are not healthy for you or don't actually bring good energy into your life. Things that are more lower vibrational or that hurt you repeatedly are things that you might accept instead of stepping up that bar on what you deserve to be coming towards you, instead of saying something when people are crossing over your boundaries, or instead of letting people know when you don't like certain things that they did. And, if they continue to do those same things, being able to remove that situation from your life, all of those things are done through self-love. And honestly, that doesn't mean that you don't love the other person either. That just means that the way that you love and the way that they love maybe does not go together in that way. Hi, Rashima. Hi, Lizzie. Nice to see you guys today. You are ready to be seen. You are no longer happy to remain in the world of invisibility you created for yourself. You are stepping into the spotlight. Don't run from the attention. Remember that you asked for this and worked hard to remove your mask and reveal the light that was within. With great power comes great responsibility. So, it's time now for you to be seen more, heard more, noticed more, appreciated more. Probably hated more too, because, everything kind of comes in a balanced way. And if there's going to be a lot of good shit coming in, there's going to be bad shit too. But that's with any situation in life. That comes with invisibility too. With invisibility, there's a lot of bad shit that goes with it too. Sure, there's some good things, because there's both. Try not to feel too anxious about what's going on. And, if you need practice on having the attention on you like that, or on talking to people in social situations, one of the best things I've really come to notice is that when you go in to get gas at a gas station, or to get groceries at the grocery store, when you get up to the cashier, ask them how their day's going. They're standing there like they're just a fucking tool for everybody walking through the fucking line, because most people really don't give a flying fuck and don't even stop to ask. And a lot of times it's not even that. It's just, I want to get in here. I want to get out of here. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to interact with anybody. And that's that social anxiety there. And so unconsciously, we tend to hurt the people around us sometimes because of that. But if you take the time to just, hey, how's your day going? Starts a little bit of a conversation up, and wow, you made it through that small talk that you hate and dread so much. And all it took was saying hi and asking how someone's day was. Do it on a regular enough basis, you get really good at being able to do that everywhere you go and feeling more confident in it. And instead of not knowing what to say, it comes out naturally and easily. And then if you put it away and hide from the world again for a while, you kind of got to start all over. Although it's kind of like riding a bike where, you don't really ever forget. It's in there. It just takes a minute for it to not be rusty anymore. Exactly, Lizzie. And plus, it really helps you out in the long run as well. Four of Coins, the Devil, and the Four of Wands. So there's also a need. There's going to be a lot of situations that might arise when you're coming into this new connection. There's going to be a lot of temptations to hide away or to hold back your energy in some sort of way. Or there's going to be a lot of temptations to fall into fear or anxiety or doubt. There's going to be a lot of energy on you, which means there's going to be a lot of people looking into what's going on. And, you know, they look absolutely happy and adorable over here in this card. But there's a lot of people that are on the outside looking in sometimes that are scared or miserable or feeling rejected or jealous, things like that. And they kind of try to slither their way in there to cause disconnections, to cause problems, to cause chaos. But you're going to have to stand strong in who you are and what you want, and also know that you're very shielded and protected. So you don't have to worry about giving. And giving your commitment, you may be feeling like you really want to shield that and hold it back, and you can't have it because it's mine. But in order to receive commitment, you have to also be willing to give that commitment. You have a lot of stability and strength in what it is that you're wanting to create, and creating a strong foundation comes from connection and intimacy. When you're feeling so scared that you're going to lose a situation, you have a really hard time connecting to the people around you. You have a hard time expressing yourself, especially from the heart. You have a hard time showing them the more vulnerable inner parts of your world, especially if you're worried about what other people think or how other people feel. Hi, Brian. Thank you. So, you might be feeling a bit like you're traveling through a dark forest and you have no idea what's going to jump out from behind the next tree. And there's just a need to focus on what you have in front of you and what you want to create. And also focus on the love. Focus on the little things that show that love. And appreciate those things. The lamp. Remembrance. Yeah, there could definitely be a lot of things from the past that are going to be creeping up on you at this time. And these things are happening so that you can expand, so that you can grow, so that you can see things that you might have missed before. Things that might have been very blurry in the past are going to become a lot more clear. And you're really going to understand the meaning of those things. Forgiveness, reducing the burden, being able to let go, being able to realize that everyone's human and everybody was doing the best that they could, and everybody was really just trying to love, but having a hard time doing so is something that's really going to help you to be able to open up to the next person too. When you're holding on to all the past burdens and all the past weight, the hurt, the hardship, the pain, it can destroy some amazingly beautiful things in your life. It can keep them from blooming and growing. It can suffocate the life out of them. Because that pain that you have inside of you is going to spew out all over the people that you love most. And at the same time, every rose has its thorn, right? And if you want the rose, you got to be okay with having to deal with the thorns. And some people aren't, and that's fine. Maybe that's not the specific flower for you. But if you want somebody to be able to deal with your thorns, then you have to be able to deal with their thorns as well. Because it's a reciprocal thing. Just like if somebody wants you to be showing your care and concern and love, then they have to show their care and concern and love. And then you also have to remember that everybody has their own love language as well. And just because you express your care or your love in a certain way doesn't mean the other people around you are going to express it in the same way either. The Ace of Pentacles. There's definitely an opportunity here. Strength and death. An opportunity to transform situations. Hi, Maple 7. Nice to see you again. The opportunity to be able to persevere, to transform, to have growth, to let go of the past once and for all, to get rid of everything that was there and to move forward. To have that courage and that bravery to take those steps out of the darkness and into the light. Showing your support, lending a hand, giving where you can, and knowing that that will be returned to you is something that's going to be important too. It will come back to you in some way to do that. There could definitely be an offer of commitment that is coming to you, or that you are working on gaining the strength and the courage and the persistence to be able to pursue and offer. And everything that you're going through right now is helping get you to a state where you're ready to be able to receive this or give this. Well, receive this and give this. To make the changes necessary to create a new life. Just because something has died out doesn't mean that there can't be new life from that. Just like when there's a fire in the forest and it burns away all the dead, old parts of the forest that need to go, that aren't really serving a purpose anymore and actually are draining from the healthy, life-filled parts. They get burned down and cleaned out, and then those ashes spread everywhere, and they help to grow the new life. Just like when you have a death of someone that you love around you. That death is something that also impacts the world very greatly and leaves a lot of ripples behind. It grows a lot of new life from that being ended. Just like in The Lion King when he's telling him that there's the circle of life. The lions eat the antelopes turn into the grass, and then the antelopes eat the grass, and it starts all over again. I don't know, that's not the full cycle, I don't think, but it's close enough that you get the point. So, in between messages, if anybody wanted to be able to purchase a question, or if you wanted to be able to leave a donation, you can find my Cash App, PayPal, and Amazon wish list in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for that. And also thank you guys to anybody who likes, shares, comments, or subscribes. Really helps me out. Appreciate you guys. So this is an envelope my daughter made for me. In my world, we learn how to make things like that very early. She made it herself. I love you, Mom, for all the times that I forgot to thank you, for all the special little things that you do, for all the words that sometimes go unspoken. I need to say that I love you. Mom, I do. There's also a lot of times that we're dealing with the people around us. Thank you. Where we can forget the love that is there, especially if they are going through a lot of pain at that time, or if they're experiencing a lot of anger in that moment. Same with yourself, if you're going through a lot of pain at that time or experiencing a lot of anger, or if there's jealousy or bitterness or resentment or anything that could pop up like that. There's a lot of, when you have a lot of emotions, you have a lot of emotions. It's both good and bad. Even when you have a little emotions, you still have emotions, and they can both be good and bad. There's always going to be both sides of it. And if you want the good parts, then you have to be able to accept the bad parts. And that's on both sides. That's what creates love around you. That's what love means. Sometimes, though, we can forget, or we don't really fully see the love from those people. So it's a good thing to be able to focus on the things that they do because they love you, on the things that you do because you love them. Sometimes when you aren't feeling the love, it's because right now you need to be the love to keep things together. Thank you, Lizzie. I appreciate that. You are slowly breaking free from the past pain and the scars that have caused a lot of distortions in your life. You are starting to transform your ideas on what love is. You feel you've been lost down some rabbit hole trying to find your way back, but you are breaking free and starting to see and accept the beauty inside of yourself and inside of others, forgiving the past and being truly grateful for the journey and all that is found within. So at this time, a lot of what you're going through and the triggers that you are being triggered by are in essence so that you can break free from those past pains, those past scars, and the distortions that you've had in your life and that you have believed when others had had of you. You're starting to really transform your ideas on what love is, to transition, to see things very differently. You may have been down some rabbit hole where you fell and you can't find your way back out for a while now. But this rabbit hole is bringing you a whole new experience, new perspectives, new understandings. It's like you're seeing things completely differently than you have seen in the past. And that way, when you come back up out of it, you're going to see the world in a completely different way, and the people around you as well. Gratitude is something that is going to help you to be able to move forward as well. Thank you again, Lizzie. If you are paying for a question, you can ask it at any time. Open your mind to the possibilities around you. All you desire is in your power to create. You have all the skills and tools at your disposal. Trust in your abilities. Open your mind and your heart to receiving. Drop your guard a bit. You might be surprised with what you find. So, it's time to really, instead of focusing on what could go wrong, it's time to start focusing on what could go right. How could this work out? How could this be a good thing? And even if it doesn't work out, how could this be a good thing? And maybe all you're seeing is this one option, and it's making you feel like if this is something that's pulled away from you, there's going to be nothing left. But you really have to open your mind up to the idea that there is a lot of options around you, more than you might see at first. And that way you're not holding on to this option so much that you suffocate the life out of it in whatever ways, because there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. You can create what you desire in the situations that you're in at this moment. You have all the skills, you have all the tools. It's time now to trust in yourself, to trust in what you've learned, to trust in how far you've come, to trust in your heart when it's telling you to act, instead of holding back because you feel like it might not be the right way to do something, or whatever the case may be. If it's, if this is a situation that you're going to want to live in forever, then you're going to want to be able to be yourself in this situation. And if you can't be yourself, then you're never going to feel happy in this situation. You're going to be completely miserable all the time, but you're going to be holding on to it because you don't want to lose it, because it's the only thing you have. And that's where that codependency comes in. So, you're welcome, sweetheart, and thank you too. Can you trust the friends that are in contact with you? Oh, let's see. Doing rituals against you and claiming the reverse. This person or people are trying to put a glamour spell on you to make others see you as evil. Or they are trying to cause you to see others around you in a negative light as well. This could be, like I was just saying, something very codependent, and when it becomes codependent, you end up doing stupid shit like that. They're trying to dim your light because it shines bright. They may even be sending you false signs and telling you that your beliefs are evil. Been through a lot of that myself over the last couple years. People will see their true colors along with their darkness. Everything gets exposed eventually, and one of the best things that you can do for yourself right now is to remember to take space and time away to take care of your energy, take care of yourself, love yourself in the right ways so that you can be in the highest vibrational energy that you can be. And that shit just bounces off of you when you're in that energy. When you're doing the things that are right for you, when you are, and sometimes, doing that self-love is just getting out of bed that day and just being able to lay in bed that day without worrying and without feeling ashamed of it or guilty about it, or afraid that if you decide to take that day for you, the whole world's going to come crumbling down without you there to support it. It's not. And you do got time to take care of you instead of feeling like everything else in the world and everyone else in the world is so much more important. You can't take care of anybody if you're not taking care of yourself, right? So, no, I feel like these people are not necessarily people to be trusted. They are in your life for a reason, but they are not necessarily people that you can trust in that way. Invisibility, authenticity. So, there is not a need to make yourself invisible. There is a need to shine that light, regardless of whether or not they like it, regardless of whether or not they are going to attack you for it. Shine that light, be who you are, and do not let others dim what you have inside of yourself. Because right now is the time to be seen. Whether they like it or not, whether you like it or not, you're going to have to face that fear once and for all and overcome it. This is the time to do it. 9 of Wands and 10 of Coins. And in facing that fear, in walking through this field of transformation over here towards this dark, scary house that could stomp on you, and being able to see that at the end of the day, everything is just fine still, and you're still standing, it's really going to bring a lot of abundance your way, a lot of prosperity, a lot of fertility and growth, a very strong, solid, stable support network as well is definitely a part of that, of shining your light. If you turn yourself invisible and you hide away from the world, then you don't have that support network. You are unseen, you're unheard, no one knows what you're going through or that you need help, when you're able to pull yourself out of that energy and you're able to allow yourself to be seen without worry, without fear, without guilt, without thinking the worst is going to come because you allowed yourself to be seen or heard because you spoke your truth, then that authenticity draws in those people who are on the same wavelength as you and who really want a lot of the same things as you. It draws in stable, strong, solid connections. It's just like, say someone is in a bar and somebody is treating them in a disrespectful manner and doing things that they don't like. The invisible person is going to allow it to continue because they don't want anybody seeing anything that's going on out of shame or out of fear or whatever it may be. Fear that maybe nobody's going to step in, or fear that there's going to be repercussions if they speak out. The one that is stepping into their light and stepping into their authenticity and expressing themselves as they should be doing is the one that is going to say, hold up, wait a second, what the fuck are you doing right now? Because I do not like this, and don't ever fucking do it again. Doesn't matter what is going on. And there really is worse things in this world than what could happen because you opened your mouth. What could happen because you didn't open your mouth is one of those big things that is far worse than that. So allow yourself to speak your truth and don't worry about what's going on with anybody else. You never know how much your voice is going to impact those around you and how much it's going to impact you yourself when you choose whether to speak or to hold your tongue in certain situations. You could end up hating yourself forever because you chose not to speak up. Then you gotta fucking fight through that to find the love again too. Today we're doing questions for $15 or 2 of them for $20. So if you'd like to ask a question, you can find my Cash App or PayPal in the description box below and send payment, and then you can ask the question anytime and I'll answer it in between the collective messages. And actually, Lizzie, yours went very well with our collective message today too, with all the talk about invisibility. So let's see what else we are talking about today. An ex-lover, husband, or boyfriend. Level up, Ciara. Motivation, Normani. Motivation, Kelly Rowland. I was so hurt that I felt betrayed and left you out in the cold. No matter what you did or how you were there for me, I couldn't see it. I didn't want to. After everything I did to you, in my projections, I didn't feel like I deserved any of it. I thought your kindness and love for me was stupid. You deserved better, so I pushed you away. You were the only one there for me. I was mired in so much self-pity, self-hate, and I was blaming everything on you. I'm sorry that I let you down. I'm sorry that you believed in me. I'm sorry that I hurt you, and I'm sorry I tried to take everything from you and ruin your good name. You deserve better. Don't waste your time on me. Reach for the sky, because I know you can accomplish anything, even if I tried to convince you otherwise, because I was scared that you would see that you deserve better and find it somewhere else. You put in so much work and tried so hard to get them to believe in themselves as you did. Tried so hard to get them to see that you wanted them. And now you're winning. Now you're leaving it behind, and now you're moving forward. But now it's also time to remove the hate from your heart and to realize that they were going through a lot themselves, and that doesn't excuse the behavior that they had. It doesn't make it okay what they did, but it does explain and help you to understand where they were coming from. And I'm sure at some point in time in your life, you have felt certain ways that has caused you to act in ways that weren't so great. So it's time to forgive yourself and others for the ways in which you may not have shown the most love, or they may not have. Because while you're still holding that and carrying it around with you, you can't create something good with anyone else either. You're just going to be waiting for the other shoe to drop, or you're going to be ready to run out the door at the first hint of anything you don't like, instead of being able to stand and express yourself and being able to actually see if you and the person in front of you can be something more. Contract severed. Lies revealed. No more waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's funny that I was just talking about that. Word has spread. You will continue to know harm, or you will come to no harm. So if you're also worried about some situation in your life causing you harm in some sort of way, physically, mentally, emotionally, causing you to be crippled in some way, or causing just some sort of harm, right now, you're not coming to any harm. At this current moment in time, the things you're going through are not going to be able to harm you in any way. The lies that have been spoken in the past are being revealed. There's no more waiting for the other shoe to drop, because it's all out in the open. The song Protector is coming to mind. You are safe spiritually and physically. Live your life. It's too short to waste. Remember what fun is and start to have some again. So you might have been in an extremely serious energy recently. Maybe even an extremely strong need to be in responsible mode, or feeling like there is just too much going on at once, or you never know what's going to be coming around the corner and you got to be ready for it and be vigilant, and you can't drop your guard, and you may be in this just really hyper aware energy of everything going on around you. But that's really pulling you out of the moment and causing you to be no fun, honestly. It's causing you to be no fun.
No fun.
None.
No fun for you.
And so it might be time to drop some of the fear and the anxiety, and to just enjoy the moment again. To live in what's going on right now in this second, rather than what may have happened in the past or what might be coming in the future. And you can't always live in that energy, but you do gotta be in that energy in a balanced way so that you can be in a balanced energy yourself. Listen to your intuition. It has proven right too many times not to. No more caring about what others think or demanding proof. Find proof if necessary, but act as if you already have it. How many times were you proven right anyway? When wrong, how was that feeling different? This is how discernment is developed. You have learned so much, it's now time to put it to use. So it's time to put everything that you've learned in the past situations to use, but not to carry the fear, the hate, the resentment, the bitterness, the anger, or the pain with you while you're doing it. As those things come up because they're triggered, it's time to work on releasing them and letting them go, allowing them to fall away, and choosing to believe and have faith in what's going on and the fact that there is a purpose for it. Can you hand me one of those? Can you hand me one of those? Thank you.
You're welcome.
It needs to be heated up.
Nice.
So,
Don't forget it's there.
I won't. As you listen more fully to your intuition, with a stronger confidence behind it, knowing what you want, feeling that hope and optimism, expressing things the way that you feel them and the way that you need to in order to be able to be yourself. As you Give that love that you want to give, that you might hold back from giving, and open yourself up to receiving that love that you may feel like you don't deserve, or you may feel like you aren't ready for, or you may feel like you, whatever the case may be for why you might be blocking receiving it. And as you start to listen to the messages and guidance that come into you that bring you peace, clarity, and truth, you're really going to be feeling very aligned with your path, with your purpose, and with the world around you. And it's going to be a very peaceful and calming feeling. Sometimes we lose that feeling for a little bit. But if we look inside of ourselves and we listen to that voice in our head, we know exactly where to find it and where it was left. And you can pull it back out at any time, because you never really forget how. You're welcome, sweetheart. And you know what? If those people have came back to take accountability, to reveal the truth, to express their apologies, and to, if they're in that better state of being now, if they're a lot more healed and they're not in such a lower vibration, then remember, if you were doing the same and going back and trying to make things right, what would you want in that situation, and how would you feel in that situation? So look at it from their side as well. But if they're coming back and basically telling you that it's like that cocky energy, if they're coming back in that cocky energy, or that egoic energy, or that pride-filled energy, or that tell you all the things you've done wrong, or tell you in some way you need them, so it would be better for you if you let them back into your life, or whatever the fuck the case may be, that energy is not something that you want to let back in. That energy is something that has not learned its lesson and still can't admit that you might have been something good in their life that they destroyed. Apple, risk and reward. There was something very interesting that popped up there too.
No.
Yeah. Because that was the person that I asked the question, or answered the question about, could she trust the people coming back? The time she made that last comment was 11:57. And it was all about black magic and shit. And we were discussing that previously. Hearth. Happiness in our hearts and in our homes. Huh?
Love you.
Me too. Happiness in our hearts and in our homes. So. Love you. I would like some, yes. So, Apple, risk and reward. In taking that risk to express your love, to express your apologies, and to make amends with people, to try to do right by them, things like that, there is a reward sometimes, and sometimes there isn't. In taking any kind of risk, there's a reward, but the one that I was thinking of was that, because that's what we were just talking about, and also because of this. You know, I've been taking a lot of risks on that for a long time, with not very many rewards, on dealing with my kids and the things that are going on between us. And we got that truce made between us now. This apple that some people might take as evil. I mean, you could fall into the fearful and distrustful energies of that, especially since you have Snow White's apple. So there's a lot of people that connect apples to kind of that evil energy a bit. That's the risk you're taking. That apple can be something that An apple a day keeps the doctor away. It can also be something extremely good. Extremely healthy and beautiful. But it's going to take that risk to get that reward. It's going to take putting yourself out there. It's going to take allowing the warmth that you have inside of you to seep out of you in order to create a warm, loving, cozy space around you with the people around you in the situations you're going through. I can't light this because I can't hold this and do it.
Who's your lighter?
So, it's kind of like this hearth over here, the happiness in our hearts and in our homes. If your heart is ice, then it's really extremely blocked. It's blocked from being able to give that warmth, and it's blocked from being able to receive that warmth as well. But sometimes there's something extremely warm that comes in to melt all of that ice off of there. And that's when you have to step into that courage and away from the fears. The fears have held you back for far too long. Seeing things from a new perspective. There may be some delays going on in situations that you're in, or things may not be moving as fast as you would like, or things might have even stopped completely. And that is so, in these situations, you can really look at them in a different light. So you can understand and see things from a different perspective. So that you can find peace on things as well. Because sometimes when things move too quickly, all of those triggers are hitting you at once. It can create a lot of chaos. It can have you acting out in ways that really are not you being able to put your best foot forward. It can cause you to feel very off balance, especially if you are trying to maintain balance on a lot of other things while adding new things in. Too much of it all at once can really cause a lot of issues.
Can't hear that, can you?
Although sometimes it still works out in the end.
You can't hear that, can you?
A little bit. So, there is definitely people watching as well as this is going on. There may be a lot of people talking as well. Maybe even looking like, what is this person doing? Anyway, they just, some of you could have even actually disappeared from the scene for a little bit. Or maybe you just have decided to kind of block out the world a little bit, take some time for you and your own energy, which is an excellent idea. That's also the reason for this delay as well, is so that you can take some time and space for you that you've been kind of needing for a little bit, so that all these brambles and thorns on these bushes that are everywhere around don't start getting a hold of you and snagging you. You're also learning a lot more as well about communication. And you may be somebody who knows a lot about communication already, but there's always more you can learn in anything. And anybody who doesn't feel that way, Generally, those are the people that are very self-righteous and feel like they're always right. Everyone can learn at any time from anyone. And so a lot of this as well could be the delays are helping you to communicate better, helping you to learn more about what it is that you're trying to overcome, what it is you're trying to make it through, and how to go about that. It could also be, you know, that in the past, gossip could have affected you very deeply in some sort of way, but it has gotten to the point where it really doesn't even upset you anymore. I heard one recently and I just kind of started laughing because it was like there's nothing else I could even do in that one because it's so fucking insane to even think of. It was completely ridiculous and I was like, wow, really? Somebody's got an extremely good imagination. Everything is turning around for you for the best. It really is. And there's a lot of good things coming your way. You're going to feel like you are able to accomplish so much. You're going to feel like you have so much more in you to be able to handle each situation you're going through. And all the ups and downs of life are no longer going to be ripping you around like a tidal wave. You're just going to be able to flow with them with ease. Oh, I'm still going to be on here for about another hour. So you got time. Thank you, by the way. And while I'm thinking about it, if anybody wants to be able to donate or purchase questions, you can find my Cash App and PayPal in the description box below. Thank you guys for that. Thank you guys for the donations as well. And also for anybody that likes, shares, comments, or subscribes. It really helps me out. And I really appreciate you guys so much. So, let's see what other messages we got for today. I haven't heard a lot of these specific ones that were written out in a long time. A really long time. Like last year. Actually, like maybe about a year and a half ago or so. Last time I was in that energy myself. Maybe that's it. Sounds good. I'll see you in a minute. Know your strength. Know your beauty. Rise up over the past and stand in your power. No longer will you be the victim or play the victim. Instead, you will make the changes that are necessary to change your life. You have the power within you. It was there all along. You just never saw it before. Take this leap of faith. You will be caught and you will be supported by the universe. If you just believe, your prayers will be answered. And they won't always be answered with what we want, but they will be answered nonetheless. And sometimes it takes a little while for those prayers to be answered. There's certain things that need to be put into motion, certain things that need to be moved around, certain things that need to happen before those things can happen. Sometimes there's also a need for you to take action on something as well. If you want things to end at that moment or begin at that moment, you got to put your foot out there and take action to do that and get the ball rolling on whatever it is. So depending on what your prayers are, there's a time for action and there's a time for patiently waiting. But all of that is your side of answering those prayers. Or calling in those manifestations. However you choose to see it. You have a part in it. And part of it is the work that you are doing. It's not just going to come to you with nothing put in. Everything has a sacrifice to it. And most things have a waiting period. And aren't just instant. So, let's see what else we have. Earthworm. Earthworms come out when it rains, only to feed, mate, or move to another place. So, luck is going to be following you when it comes to making any moves or transitions at this time. And also, if you need food, it will come to you. If you, like we were just discussing, same thing. Also, when two energies come together, regardless of what you're doing in those situations, when two energies come together, there is a transformation that happens, period. Sometimes certain people cause bigger transitions with pretty much everybody they run into all the way through their life. But there is always some sort of transformation or transition that happens if we don't resist those changes. Because everybody you meet thinks differently, feels differently, has different perspectives, opinions, ideas, and all of those things can combine together to create something even more amazing than what was there before. Something more advanced than what was there before. So, it represents the relationship between active and passive energies in life, and that's what we were just discussing a little while ago too. The need for action and the need for passiveness. There is a need for both in every scenario that you come across. Darkness is not always a bad thing, but it may be time to move towards the light that is beckoning to you by cleansing and clearing your energy field. Miraculous regeneration and healing is why this animal is with you now. Just when you feel like giving up, you will receive a breakthrough. Your rebirth will come at the perfect time. Take life one step at a time and be patient with yourself and with others. Sometimes it's difficult to come out into the open, to show who you truly are, to release that invisibility, like we were discussing at the beginning of this message. Slow movement is so that you can learn. Confront your fear or dislike of doing something and learn from it. What you give is what you get. Dig through the dirt and allow it to be the fuel that pushes you forward. I need to get a drink really quick. So, you need to dig a little deeper to find out who you are. By Mama Odie is
He's a fixer-upper.
a good song too.
He's a fixer-upper, yeah. I like that one.
And Jeremiah says fixer upper from Frozen.
What you mean?
Well, technically it was both of them.
Well, yeah.
Because later in the song they're like, well, she's a fixer upper too. That makes it even more perfect. Everybody is. You can, like we were saying, you can learn
Right?
more anytime. Damn it.
Okay.
So.
It's okay. Just weed.
You were somewhat distracting. Back to what we were saying. I'm going to finish reading this one and then I will answer that question, Maple 7. Just when you feel like giving up, you will receive a breakthrough. Your rebirth will come at the perfect time. Take life one step at a time and be patient with yourself and with others. Sometimes it's difficult to come out in the open. Thank you. Slow movement is so that you can learn. Confront your fear or dislike of doing something and learn from it. What you give is what you get. Dig through the dirt and allow it to be the fuel that pushes you forward. I did read the rest of that already, but we're reading it again. So, there may be a lot of darkness around you, and it may be somewhat hard clawing your way through. But as you claw your way through that, you'll make it out the other side, and you'll start to really see that it was completely worth going through everything you had to go through to get there. It's like that little guy on Facebook that's digging through the dirt tunnel, and he gives up like an inch away from the gold mine. It's not time to give up right now. It's time to continue forward and to know that that will pay off. Oh, okay. I didn't notice you didn't actually ask a question yet. Oh, yeah. Thank you, by the way. There is a deep desire within you to do the right thing. You are someone who thinks outside of the box. You perceive things in a very different way. You may be sabotaging yourself through rigidity in some sort of way. Remember, boundaries are good, but so is flexibility, adaptability, and the ability to compromise. There may be someone jealous over the time and attention that you are placing on someone else at this time, possibly an ex-lover, but you have the skills and the tools necessary to communicate effectively. Could also be somebody else that got rejected by you as well. Somebody who wishes you were single. So, the best outcome for all in a positive way. Believe in yourself. You know, a lot of times it's really hard for people to understand that just because they want something does not mean you want it. Just because they feel a certain way doesn't mean you feel that way. And also to understand that what they want is somebody who does feel that way. Maybe take a second to explain that to somebody. And that might actually help the situation. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they still, just can't fucking...
Shit happens.
But whether they can accept it or not, that's the reality of it. And you can't change that. So, don't feel guilty about it. Don't feel ashamed of it. Try not to feel too hurt or upset about it, especially if it's somebody you care about that you're losing a connection with, because yeah, that really does suck. Or if it's somebody that you care about that hurt you very severely because they felt rejected or because they were jealous or whatever the case may be. Try to just leave that behind. And also not to take that blame onto your shoulders, because it's not your fault that people are acting the way they are. It's not anything you can control.
That's why I don't like people.
I love people, but I also have a very strong... There is a balance to that. Love-hate. It's a love-hate relationship with people.
I try to avoid people.
We're not necessarily meant to be friends with everyone. We'll just put it that way.
Well, you seem to be when you... I'm not even gonna say anything.
Not going to say anything about what? We've been sitting here talking all day about how you should express yourself. What?
TRUGS.
Oh, okay.
No discussion over platforms.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I enjoy weed. In moderation, nothing's bad. Out of moderation, anything can be bad.
Felonies are bad.
Oh, those are too, but, a lot of people have felonies.
Oh, I know. I'd rather not have another one.
I know. Which is why you should be doing what?
Avoiding people.
No.
No. Taking care of it.
Yeah. And getting rid of the things that are causing havoc in your life because they're not done in moderation.
What you do for me? Carry my mom's.
Some things we have a severe problem with not doing in moderation, like my cigarettes.
Yeah.
Addiction's addiction.
Yep. Oh, I know. I'm an addict. I know.
So, patience, persistence, dedication, and faith are what is going to carry you through. You know your worth. You know your value. You know where you want to place this support and this care and this nurturing energy. Place it out there. And don't worry about what the outcome is going to be, because your love and your care and your concern and your support is never going to go to waste. And it will come back to you from somewhere, even if it's not in that specific situation. There are a lot of people who may place a very high value on you. And a lot of that may be because of your loyalty, your stability, your solidity, your strength, how grounded you are, how generous you are, how fertile and abundant you are. But also remember, as you decide not to give when you felt drawn to give, you're making the decision not to receive as well. Because it doesn't matter if it comes back from that source or not. If you are led to give, then it will come back to you from somewhere.
Babe, you gotta put your finger on the hole.
And that also includes giving your voice when you feel like you should be saying something. If you don't say it, then you won't be able to receive that reward either. It's a risk that you take. But at the same time, it's something that was very important for you to do. And that's even when somebody's going to get pissed off at you for saying it. Because a lot of times people are going to get pissed off at you for speaking the truth. But that's what you got to do, is speak the truth. Because you know what you want. You know who you are. You know where your commitment is right now. You know what you want to put time into. You know what you want to put effort into. And if somebody else wants to get mad at you for that, that's their own fucking problem. If they want to decide that they don't want to be around you anymore because of that, that's not anything you need to worry about. We're not meant to know everything that's coming our way all the time. But by enhancing our skills and our knowledge of ourselves and the world around us, we really do pick up on a lot more. And that's why you had to go through what you had to go through to get to this level, to be able to see yourself in that way as well, and to be able to place your faith on you, to place your belief in you. So, Maple 7. Stuck between general or more specific. Thank you, Marilyn. Or Marlon. Marlon. You felt like you've had to let go of a lot of things and friendships. Any advice moving forward towards building better connections with your current friendships and new connections? Thank you. And yes, that's how you know it's an addiction, is when you can smoke something that looks like that. Because it's a reef fry, guys. I didn't have money for them this morning. Huh. So. You're distracting.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
Although you've added some good points at times too.
I'm out of here. Dogs. I'll let you try it out before you go.
That would be awesome.
Go outside. Go outside.
Advice moving forward and building better connections and moving forward with your new or your current connections. You may be extremely busy right now. Make sure to make time for you as well. Make sure to make time for your connections too. And also remember that you can only make so much time. So It's great to be able to be sociable with a lot of people, but as far as the closer connections, it does have to be kept at a rate or at an amount that you can balance time for each one. Otherwise, you're doing yourself and the other people a disservice in a lot of ways. Self-care is important now. It won't always be this busy, and soon it will slow down again. And it's also a good idea as well, if you're going to be not around so much, or you're going to have a lot of extra things going on. Love you too. See you in a bit. And you're going to have a lot of extra things going on, then you really need to let people know. Just be like, hey, you know, I got a lot of work to do this week and next week, so I'm not going to be around for a little bit. And I'm sure I'll see you again in the future, but for right at this moment, I don't have time to hang out. But make sure you do make some time to hang out and some time to spend with people too. And that's why I was saying in a balanced way though. And you only got so much time sometimes. So let people know that you only got so much time sometimes, and you got other things that you got going on too, other commitments to take care of. And let them know that you still love them and appreciate them. Be patient with yourself, be patient with others. And know that it's not always going to be easy when it comes to everybody being able to get together or spend that time on each other or put that attention on each other, because there's going to be a lot of things going on outside yourselves as well. I've had to remind myself of that a lot over the last couple years, because there's been a lot of abandonment in my life, and sometimes it's really hard to deal with that. So if you got a lot of things like that going on, it can really add to that. That's why those triggers come up though, is so that we can deal with them. And so that we can get better at dealing with them. Just like the social anxiety thing we were talking about earlier. Thank you guys. And you're welcome, Rashima. Yeah, so that really fit in with what you were saying up there too, Maple 7. I didn't read that comment till just now. I had a friend angry at me for not hanging out with her as often. It made me feel off put. Yeah, and it can really make you feel that way. Now, if they're constantly going out and it's the same group of friends that you were going out with regularly, they're not inviting you, they're not, you know, that's different. That's completely different. And you're trying to make plans with them and they're skipping out on them, that's completely different. You do not need to put time and energy into those situations. Those are not something that is worth prioritizing in your life. But if it is something that is long term, that always seems to come back together, that always seems to be there for you when you really need it, then that's something worth having around and making some sacrifices for. And vice versa as well. Those other people, when you explain that and when you let them know that, you know, I can't be here for you right now because I have my own shit going on that I got to take care of, but I do still love you, you know, and...
I'm going to grab a pot one of Mom's too.
Okay.
I'm thinking I'll walk the bike. But it's too wet. I love you.
Then that is definitely worth putting into.
I'll bring smoke back.
If they can understand that and if you can understand that. John Cross. 208-949-8950. Yeah. And it's not just you either. It takes them putting in the work too. Awesome. I'm glad you're here today, Seeking North Node. Yes, it is extremely distracting. I do have, you know, I'm pretty sure I've never been diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure that there is a little bit of ADHD there. So it's, you know, I have gotten really good a lot of times at not allowing myself to be so distracted and getting so off target. But at the same time, sometimes like I've told many people before, I don't think there's anything wrong with me. That's why I don't take medicine for it. That's why I don't go get diagnosed for it. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with me. I feel like I think the way that I do for a reason. I was made the way that I was for a reason. And so I prefer to be me. I prefer to try to work on my weaknesses, like the getting distracted and trying to really, develop better skills with that. But overall, I really don't feel like there is anything wrong with who I am. So, envy is awful to experience. When you really think about it, you got to realize that it's awful on both sides. Imagine hating yourself and your life so much that you covet everything about another's. Not everyone knows or can believe that they can make the changes or have different in their life. They are in a stuck prison of their own mind, usually created by past abuse. Not an excuse for their actions. It just makes it more understandable. You can have compassion and understanding while not allowing abuse in your life and walking away when you need to. Me Too, Megan Trainor. Great song for building that confidence as well. Play that song around your friends more. Maybe they'll start to really feel that way about themselves too, because it's amazing what songs can do. They can really change the vibrations of the room and make everybody feel really good about themselves. Sometimes they can trigger people and they can trigger responses from people as well. And so if somebody is having a problem or an issue with the certain type of music you're listening to, changing it is always a respectful thing to do. And it may just be today that they're having a problem with that song, but sometimes people can have a very big problem with a song because of certain things inside themselves. And they know when they need that trigger to stop, so they will say something about it. And sometimes it can come out in a very emotional way as well. So having a lot of compassion and understanding for people around you is definitely something that helps to build those friendships and those connections and helps to make them very solid. It's very respectful to yourself and to others to be able to be understanding and compassionate like that. Exactly, Lizzie. If they love you, they should definitely be respecting your boundaries too. And they should be listening to what you're saying when you're telling them that certain things make you feel certain ways. And that doesn't mean, that you're shifting that blame onto people either. And when people are doing that with you, it doesn't mean they're shifting blame. It just means that they're expressing their feelings and how they're feeling about the situation. And if we're getting triggered, then we need to look inside ourselves for why. And it's amazing what communicating like that can actually do in those situations too. People don't realize how effective it can be to express things like that when you're feeling that way. But it really can be. And some people don't like it. Some people really don't. And some people are going to be very angry sometimes when you're doing that. But that's what they got going on inside themselves, just like we were saying a second ago. So all we can do is try not to allow it to bother us, how they're feeling in that moment. It's not our responsibility to take care of their feelings in that moment either. It's their responsibility. We can sit with them in it if we're able to. And if we are not able to because it's bad for us at the moment, then we don't need to be sitting in it either. But explaining things like that, when things like that come up, or asking for an explanation if you need one, best ways ever to be able to build those connections like that. Leveling up and maturing in your emotions, in your emotional intelligence and awareness of yourself and others, freeing yourself from some of the pain of the past, and allowing yourself to be different and to be okay with that. Allowing yourself to dream big and allowing yourself to believe in magic. But also remembering that what's right in front of us is important too. And you can't gloss over the things that need to be discussed or taken into account. Getting caught up on the comments. See, and I get a lot less distracted when I go back and forth like that instead of trying to read them as they go through sometimes. And maybe she just has a lot going on in her life right now, too, where she doesn't have as much time, but she doesn't know how to express that. If she's been saying no a lot to being able to hang out, yeah, there could definitely be a lot of extra things going on in her life right now. Writing a letter might be a way to be able to get your thoughts together and your ideas together and put them down on paper in the way that you want to express it. Might be something that will really help you to be able to say what you need to say to her, or you could even send her the letter. Or give it to her while you're standing there. That way you guys can discuss it afterwards if you feel like it would be best to have a discussion about it. That way you're actually there in person and can have that discussion. So it doesn't just get glossed over, if that's something that happens regularly. So, let's see what other messages we got for today. And thank you for your purchase. Once again, if anybody wants to be able to make a purchase or a donation, you can find my Cash App, PayPal, and Amazon wishlist in the description box below. I really appreciate you guys and anybody who likes, comments, shares, subscribes. That stuff really helps me out, so thank you for doing that. All your support means the world to me. It really does. Anger reigns. Time to change. Let all your anger float away. No more poison for today. Anger eating at my soul makes me feel less than whole. Forgiveness brings peace that sets me free. Letting go is the key. Don't allow your power to be taken or the light within to be shaken. Free your mind of the pain, a gentle, soft, cleansing rain. Healing fills you at this time, healing from this very rhyme. And if you guys want to be able to find my poetry, you can find Dee's StoryTime in the description box below. It really helps me out when you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe over there as well. So thank you. So right now is the time to let the past go. Oh, okay. That's been you saying no to her invitations. Okay. And so she could be getting really upset because you're not so readily available to her all the time. Was she ever readily available like that, where you call her up all the time and she's just there? Was that like a reciprocal thing? It might be a good idea to do that and to let her know that, you know, if she's feeling a certain way about that, that is understandable. But that you do love her and she is important to you. You just got a lot going on right now that you're taking care of for you. Skull of stars, infinite possibilities. Skull of flowers, creating through the ashes. So, kind of like when a phoenix bursts into flames and then comes back to life in the ashes, or rises back up to life from the ashes, or like the forest we were talking about earlier, coming back to life from the ashes left behind of the burned away dead old trees. It's amazing how much you can create from destruction and from what has fallen apart, what new life can bloom into view as you move forward. There are infinite possibilities. So much happiness and joy can be found from continuing forward when everything seems lost or when everything seems hopeless. Finding that fight, that power, and that light within you and bringing it back to life is something that can bring so much success and so much beauty and so much life bursting back into your world. Believe that anything is possible. Anything could happen at any time. And all it takes sometimes is that action to end something so new life can happen. To express something so changes can be made. Yeah, see, she was too busy for you in the past. And now she's kind of upset because you're too busy for her right now. Because you went and got your own life instead of waiting around for her to want to do something. And you know, that's the angry and kind of egoic part of it talking, but that's an important part of it too. There was a reason you were feeling those ways. And there was a reason you shifted and changed things around so you would have more going on. And now she's going to have to learn how to respect the same thing that you had to learn how to respect in the past. You not being readily available for her all the time. And if she can't accept that, then this situation cannot happen because it's not a reciprocal energy given. But if she can accept that and respect it and be okay with it, which does take time sometimes, and patience, consideration, understanding, compassion, those kinds of things, to realize how hard it is to be in that position. But at the same time, not so much that you put up with it forever either, because walk needs to follow the talk. If she says, okay, I can see where you're coming from, this makes sense to me, I'm going to work on it, but there's never any work shown, then no. But once again, infinite possibilities is sitting out here as we're talking about that. And believing that even though things have died out a lot between you guys right now and aren't in the best, it can still come back to life at any time. You're welcome. Okay. Back to this. So we got the Page of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and the Ace of Coins. Understandable. There's a lot of new adventures awaiting you right now. A lot of new perspectives are coming to you. A lot of shifts and changes in the way that you see things, in the way that you're feeling things. You're also learning how to be this beautiful, bountiful beacon of love, joy, hope, compassion, empathy, care, concern, emotional support, and emotional understanding and compassion. All of those things, but you're learning how to protect that cup. Learning how to make sure your cup stays filled, even though you're giving love to the world around you. You're not seeing that as a bad thing anymore, an uncaring thing anymore. You're not seeing that as somebody that doesn't love anymore. You're seeing that as somebody who loves as much as they are able to love, while still maintaining their love for themselves. This is bringing new opportunities, prosperous opportunities, beautiful opportunities that can create abundance and fertility and growth. It's bringing you a lot of stability, commitment, care, and concern to your life as well. People offering to you too, and not just taking from you. Which is why that question was over and my last answer was a bit more non-committal too. Anyway. As we get older, we become wiser. Others not. As an adult, we can understand that it comes with certain responsibilities and commitments. That is pretty true. Lizzie. That is pretty true. Some of us start out extremely old and we grow younger. I've had to learn how to bring out my inner child again. I've had to learn how to let that playful, fun, joyful energy that isn't thinking constantly or responsible constantly or constantly having to deal with everything. I've had to learn how to bring that side of myself out again because I've been taking care of everything and everyone since I was 10 years old. I was responsible extremely early for a lot of things. So I was already somebody who had a lot of wisdom. A lot of what I've had to learn over the last couple of years especially is how to be more childlike, how to believe more, how to dream more, how to be okay with not doing everything the way that the world says we should do it, with not having to be responsible for everything and everyone around us at every turn and every time. Because we also have ourselves to think about. And what is healthiest for us? How are we going to be able to take care of those responsibilities and those commitments and everything that's going on in our life if we don't take care of ourselves so that we can? And sometimes there is a time for that and a need for that. Sometimes you have to take a day off from those responsibilities and commitments and just allow yourself to have fun and enjoy life. And not be so stuck to the schedule and the structure and the responsibility. It can really drain all the fun and all the life out of you and turn you into a miserable old miser. And I'm not saying that's what you are in any way. That's just what that comment made me think about. And I felt like it needed to be expressed. I can fully understand that. I've had to go through that. And I've had to go through it multiple times because there's times that it does creep back in. And you do start to worry again, especially if you lose a lot of people and then you got new people coming into your life and they're getting a little bit closer and you're opening your heart to them. You're becoming vulnerable with them. You're building a friendship with them. And at any point they could be gone. And sometimes it gets a little hard to deal with at times. And a little hard not to care. Because we do care. We care whether or not we lose the people that we love most in our life. And there's nothing wrong with that. At all. There's something very right about that, in fact. But allowing it to destroy us in our lives because we care, or to change us as a person because we care, into something that we don't want to be? No. Now, if it's allowing us to change and transform and grow into something we do want to be, awesome. Because staying stuck and stagnant isn't going to go nowhere. It's just going to sit still. So it's choosing left, right, or standing here, paralyzed. Or comfortable. Comfortable in your armchair and not going to move for no one. There's all different kinds. But of ways you can handle it. It's all in what you want and where you want to go. Thank you, ML. I appreciate that very much. So, let's see what other messages we got for today. I haven't used the Halloween Oracle cards in a couple weeks. When Jeremiah pulled them out earlier today, I was like, ooh, I'm going to use those ones in there too. Is there something that you want to fight for? What is it? It doesn't have to be perfect either, because you know what? Nothing's ever going to be perfect. And the person that I'm seeing right now is not perfect, but there is so much to love about him. He's a really good man in a lot of ways, and has been there for me when I was at some pretty low points, where there's been a lot of other people who have not been. So I am very grateful for that. And There's a lot of people who probably would not agree with my decision to date someone in his position, but I really don't give a flying fuck what any of them think. Not one flying fuck, because not one of them was here for me when he was, regardless of how evil anybody might think that being the person he is, because I don't. Is there something you want to fight for? What is it? Don't let your fear talk you out of it. Face it and know that it could go wrong, but it could also go right. And what if it did? What if it took commitment and wasn't done right away? Wouldn't it be worth it? Do you want it that much? When you find what you do want that much, don't regret not trying. Not trying is the only true way to fail. You're welcome, Maple 7. And thank you, Rashima, for the agreement. My perception of what's evil and what isn't is very different than most of the world. It just is, you know? Right now, it's time to focus on you and your goals. We are on our own journeys, and we both know deep down that this is necessary. We have a lot to learn to align ourselves to a more unconditional form of love, and to also find and reveal our highest power. When we are strong on our own, we will be stronger together. So, there's a song that just popped in my mind. Who says that the growing only happens when you're alone? I can stand right here and grow with you. We can grow as we go. Sometimes the growing does happen alone, and sometimes the growing happens together. But if you're too afraid to allow that growing to happen together, then you end up running away from some of the most amazing things. I'm so glad that you guys are able to help each other in the comments too. I love that when that happens. Your creativity and ideas are a gift worth cherishing and nurturing. Keep expanding your imagination and connecting to your inner child. You could create a great work of art. Whether it be music, painting, drawing, or any other creation, you are an artist. Believe in you and stop limiting yourself and your creations. So, and what was coming to mind while I was reading that, when I was talking about how I think differently than others for a reason, it is for a reason. And today's reading can be very strongly in favor of that, because if it wasn't for allowing myself to be distracted and my mind to jump around like that, a lot of those ideas wouldn't have come to me. Because those ideas come to me most when my mind is jumping around like that and there's a lot of different things going on. That's why I write a lot of them down in the moment as well. It may be time for some of you to start writing some of your ideas down like that too. That's very understandable, but you know what? I am so glad that you did decide to ask that question, personal or not. Especially since it led to some of my extra conclusions on my end, too. Thank you, Lizzie. I appreciate that so much. And thank you for your perspectives on things, too. Because you know what? I do feel like that when you are an adult, when you're a person in general, child, adult, doesn't matter. Because I've told my children some of the same things, too. That there is certain responsibilities and commitments. There's certain things that you do need to prioritize above other things so that you can make sure to take care of them in the right way. Especially when they're important to you, though. And what is most important in your life? What is most important in your life is those people around you. To me, personally, in the entire world, the most important thing in the entire human world, we'll put it that way, the most important thing are the hardworking, everyday men and women out there. Those are the most important and integral thing to this world. Those are the ones interacting with people the most. Those are the ones making the biggest impacts and changes around them every day. In so many ways. At the same time, when it comes to people that are higher up on that chain, who made the sacrifices, who went after the goals, who created and generated that wealth, they make a lot of impacts and changes too. They make a lot of differences in this world. There's a lot of them that give a lot of that money away on a regular basis. It's a very important position to be in too. It's a very responsible one to be in. Sometimes it's a very lonely one to be in. What's most important to you? Not to everyone else. What is most important to you? Do you want to make these impacts or do you want to make those impacts? And that's where you focus your time and your energy. You balance your schedule, because you can have a balanced schedule too. And the people that are in your life that are most important and most valuable in your life are the ones that you make the most time for. And then you make time for those commitments, those responsibilities, or those work things, whatever they may be. Make time for fun and enjoyment of life, relaxation and rest. Time to take care of yourself, like taking a bath. If you shave, shaving. Taking the time to really put into you and the world around you helps to boost that world you're trying to create as well in the other sector. Because you're in a much happier, higher vibration when your life is more in balance and you have not just the money you're working on, but the love that you're working on too. And then you don't end up killing yourself when you get to the top because you have nothing else. And it feels shallow, cold, and alone. Or because you just feel tired and done with putting everything into the entire world with not much coming back your way. Except for this shiny, hard gold that doesn't really fill your heart or your soul. But even then, sometimes those people were meant to make that impact with their actions in that way, so that things like that could be highlighted and people could tell that story afterwards. And do I think those people are evil and are going to end up going to hell for killing themselves? Hell no, I don't. Not even a little bit. Nope. Nope. That's the most repentant person in the world right there. Or just the most tired and weary, and they just didn't have it in them anymore. And no, I don't think that that's something that is going to be punished by an eternity in flames. People are nuts. You have been through so many ups and downs, so many twists and turns, so many shifts, so many changes, so many extremes. It's kind of like my ex was a Libra. And, you know, for being the scales, a lot of times they're extremely, extremely indecisive. And they really do have this tendency, even though they're very balanced a lot of times in their emotions, a lot of them can be extremely balanced in their emotions because, you know, they're a lot more about the mind. They are so fucking hot and cold like that. We'd be driving in the car and he'd roll the window down all the way. And we're going somewhere nice, so my hair is nice. And I'm like, you know, it'd be nice if you could close that window a little bit because I don't want my hair to get messed up. So I'm just like, it'd be nice if you could close that window a little bit. It's blowing all over the place over here. And he'd roll it all the way up. And I'm like, you didn't have to roll it all the way up. You could have left it down a little bit. You don't got to be an ass about it. I just wanted you to roll it up a little bit because we're going somewhere. I'd like my hair to look nice since I put time and energy into it. So it'd be awesome if you could close that window a little bit. Although there's a lot of times I really don't care about it much anymore. At the same time, I did at that point. Definitely a great shift that we're going through. That makes sense that you're a Libra, Rashima. But all of these extremes that you've been going through and all of these ups and downs like that, that's how you create the best, strongest you that there is. Patience, persistence, dedication, stability, strength, being able to face and overcome the challenges and obstacles. Being able to make it out of that. And actually, on the other side of it, being so much stronger, wiser, being so much more stable, being so much more patient and strong. All of those things come from going through that. That's how you learn how to ride the ups and downs in life and go with the flow instead of getting so thrown off course by those ups and downs, by experiencing them and going through them, and some of them over and over and over and over again. A very rigorous process to create the strongest diamond out of this coal that we could get through that pressure. Exactly, Lizzie. And also, those triggers, once again, as we've been talking about a lot today, help us to be able to face things and see things that we could improve. They help us to be able to look inside and understand ourselves more and look at the world around us and understand it more. There is definitely people that are watching you manifest from this state of strength and stability. Watching you being able to be around the temptations without succumbing to them, but really still staying on your game. There's a lot of people watching you overcome any of those trials or tribulations. There may be a lot of people speaking about it too. And you could actually be, a lot of what you're working on right now could definitely be surrounding communication and being able to communicate in a very patient, calm, kind, and understanding manner. Being able to keep away from the extremes when it comes to the emotions that you're dealing with in hard conversations. And all of this is manifesting very strong, stable, harmonious, peaceful connections and friendships in your life. And if you're following me, that's definitely what you're working on, because you know what? That's a lot of what I've worked on a lot for years. And still, occasionally, I have my moments where I got to check myself and be like, wait a second, this isn't the way we want to handle this. We got to take it down a notch. That way, things aren't blowing up out of proportion and everybody isn't getting so upset with each other, because that definitely happens a lot. So, yes, being able to find balance with everything that's going on in your life and being able to be at peace with it, being able to deal with it all and feel very grateful for it all and feel like it's a wealth of abundance in your world instead of something that is causing you pain or hardship or distraction, veered off track. You're feeling more balanced and strong and stable and like you can handle anything that comes your way. You're really dealing with this energy of having to balance things and having to multitask with things very well. And some of you could even be coming out of this energy of when your kids were young as well, and always having to spend all of your time and energy and efforts on them because that's what was needed at that time, into this energy of you're just here now. And that purpose is gone. Where'd it go? But now you're also having time for you and the connections in your life in a more romantic way, or the friendships in your life. And really being able to be happy, being in the new role that you have with the past situations, and the new role you're coming into, the new person you're shifting and changing into. Leaving the old person behind, not really feeling like it was something that was awful or horrible or needed to be gotten rid of in any way, but it was just time for that next level and time for that new change and the new experiences and the different life to come out. Our lives are going to shift and change a lot throughout them, a lot of times. And sometimes we don't always experience those shifts so gracefully. Sometimes it's extremely messy. Usually, when it's a big shift like that, why do you think they got a name for the midlife crisis? Because it's that shift and that change. This person is going from being somebody that had a lot of options, that was very sexual, that was very free, that was whatever, into this responsible, old, joyless, or what they imagine it to be person. And then they realize that they don't have to be that person, some of them. They can be what they want to be, regardless of how much time passes. And so, I mean, as well, if there are, say, some of you that would like to stay in that energy, you can always have another child. And if you can't do that, you could always adopt another child. You could always go work at a daycare center or volunteer at one. You can always start babysitting somebody's child, something like that. If you still want to be able to have that in your world, because that's still a part of you, then you could still have that. But this whole new world that is opening up for you through these shifts and through these changes, and in becoming this new version of yourself, has a lot of possibilities too, has a lot of beauty, has a lot to be in love with as well. And I only described one version of a midlife crisis too. That there's many different types of the midlife crises, although that one really is the one at the forefront of my mind, because there's been some people around me that have had some issues with some of those things recently. So it's, one of the things that are definitely out there. Oh, thank you so much, Lizzie. I really appreciate that. I really appreciated your energy today too. Thank you. So, let's see what other messages we have. And this is going to be our last message today, our closeout message. If I get another question before I finish it, then I will do one more. But other than that, this will be the end of the reading for today. Let's see. You may find that you are overly sensitive at times to the view that others have of you, or to the way that others express to you. Feeling that you are somewhat unworthy of love is keeping you from seeing your true potential and the many options that are in front of you and the doors that are opening all around you. The fact that you can choose still to walk away at any time if you ever need to, but that you are choosing to stay and be committed, is also something that's extremely important when it comes to being in relationships. It's time to let your inner fire burn and cleanse, bringing transformation. The sun always comes back out after a storm. It is time to acknowledge how far you have let yourself slip, forgive yourself, and accept that we are all human, and it happens. Then it's time to change what you feel like needs to be changed. And I really do enjoy the fact that this paper got all messed up the way it is. It somehow didn't get on any of the words, but it reminds me of like maybe it was in a fire or something. I have no idea how it happened, but it probably could definitely have had something to do with soot getting on it. Yep, that could definitely be it in my old RV, because there was actually one winter where there was a lot of soot with what I was burning to stay warm a couple of years ago. So sometimes we let ourselves slip. Sometimes we let ourselves dive into depression, into despair, into hopelessness, into hurt, into pain, into the darkness. Sometimes we let ourselves slip on what temptations we decide to dive into in some sort of way, what addictions we decide to give into, and how far we take them. But it's really time to forgive yourself for that, to understand and accept that we're all human. Everyone has these issues sometimes. You're very welcome, ML. Thank you as well. I really appreciate the donation you sent, sweetheart. It's time to accept it, to see it, to look into the mirror and really let yourself feel it. That way you can take that accountability and make those changes that are necessary in your life. Do what needs to be done for you to really enhance your life and make yourself feel better and handle things better overall. The people around you, passion, skills, you have everything that you need within you. We each have a purpose, and yours is very important. Believe in that, know that, see that, love yourself. There could have been a lot of points recently where you've had a very hard time loving you, feeling that you deserve, feeling that you even want to be here in some ways. There could definitely have been some of that. Think of the times when things could have been deadly, but they weren't. You're here for a reason. You are protected. You are guided. Sometimes they can't save you from every little thing that happens immediately, because sometimes those things are needed to make us into the people that we are. Without those things, we can't be the lights in the world that we are as earth angels on this earth. If it wasn't for every ounce of abuse I went through in this life, I wouldn't be who I am today talking to you, and I wouldn't have the lessons that I have, the wisdom, the understanding, or the knowledge of it. I have those things because of what I've went through and because I've spent my life striving to work on and enhance those skills so that I could heal myself and so that I could heal others. So not only was I chosen for this, but I also chose it. I didn't have to choose it. A lot of times we can give up. Maybe there has been points where you have given up on yourself. Where you have not seen your light or your worth. Where you've been very angry or upset with yourself for the actions that you took, feeling like you may have destroyed things in some way. Or feeling like you may have been too harsh or cruel with your actions or your words. Or maybe feeling like you were stupid or naive to have ever been in a situation. And maybe not stupid or naive, but you sure learned from it. That's why you were in it. You were in it because you didn't know about it, and now you know about it because you were in it. So, that situation was there for a reason, even though it sucked ass. And yeah, it did make you feel a little bit like you were stupid or naive. You're not no more. That's for sure. And some may even be upset about the innocence or the purity they've lost, or the purity of thinking. Maybe there was a lot of sunshine and rainbows with those rose-colored glasses that just, needed to be enhanced so you could view things as they are, while still hoping and believing in the more beautiful things. Thank you, Emma. Remember who you are. You are a warrior with deep inner strength and power. Look at everything that you have been through from a different perspective. Without every bit of it, who would you be exactly? What would you know? What would you have to overcome to be able to see your strengths and work on your weaknesses? And you are someone who has always cared deeply about learning and growing from every experience. So pat yourself on the back and tell yourself, job well done, making it to now, stronger, smarter, and more knowing than ever before. Don't hate your past. That poison affects your presence. So it does take a bit longer to attract people to this channel for me sometimes, because I'm all about learning and growth and what is healthy for you and healing and gaining extra knowledge and understanding of things. So nerds, hello. Because we all really enjoy learning, which is why you're here. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's something absolutely beautiful and amazing about that. And you should definitely be proud of yourself and be proud of the choices that you've made to do that, because not everybody does that. Not everybody takes the time out to understand themselves or the world around them so that they can handle it in a good way, so that they can interact with it in a good way, so that they can really figure out what they need to do in situations. A lot of people can't even admit that what they're doing isn't right, but you can see from the results of what they're doing that it isn't. Thank you. Some of the past poison that you have experienced is affecting your presence in some way. And it's time now to really readdress those issues and dive in for that deeper understanding, because you can do it. You are extremely intelligent, and you know exactly what you need to do to be able to get to the root of this problem and to be able to stand strong and confident in your abilities and your skills, knowing that you will be able to pull yourself out of whatever it is that you got going on. And you don't need anyone there, no. But sometimes it is nice to have somebody that's there when you're upset and hurting. Just remember that having somebody there when you're upset and hurting still does not do the work of needing to go in and address those things. But it does help you to feel like others will be there. If you've had a life where you've experienced no one really being there when you're in those moments, or not very many people being there when you're in those moments, who have made you feel bad about being in those moments, which in turn caused you to feel bad about yourself being in those moments, and then at times possibly even project that onto other people. But now you're here where you are starting to come out of that, and you should be fucking proud of that. Proud of how far you've come and how much you have accomplished. You're doing amazing right now in this moment, and you are perfectly beautiful at all times as all versions of yourself. I'm flawless, and by that I mean I'm perfectly flawed. That's a really good song. I think it's called I'm Flawless. Or just flawless. Zebra, swan, and dragonfly. Things may be up and down right now. Remain peaceful and balanced. Don't become frustrated. You're a visionary able to navigate effectively through the turmoil because you see things differently. You are very connected to your intuition and your insight at this time. You are very different, an individual who likes freedom and will do anything to obtain it. Don't let others stand in your way. You always get back up. Obstacles are stepping stones in the right direction. There may be a need for balance and for order in your life. Take pride in your accomplishments, but remain humble. Glory and joyfulness are coming into your life. Happiness and good finances are coming. Prosperity and luck are on your side. Be pure. Go with the flow. Enjoy the company of others. Grace, beauty, and dignity are qualities that you possess. Dancing will help you to release any worries or anxieties. Transformation, change, renewal, rebirth are coming. You may feel unstable or insecure. Stand up for yourself and for your beliefs. A second chance may come. Don't let anyone or any attachment get in the way. So, it really is time now to believe in you, to believe in the changes you're making, to believe in the directions you're taking, to believe in what you want and what you feel is right, to go after those things, research those things, express those things, communicate those things. You have some amazing beliefs inside of you. You have some amazing knowledge and wisdom inside of you. Knowledge from searching and researching, and wisdom from in the field research and all the things that you've been through in your life. Everything that has led up to now. So you have wisdom, you have knowledge, you have experience. You have the skills that you need to create the changes that you want in your life and to free yourself from the past, allowing in a new world. There may be a second chance that's coming your way as well in some sort of situation. But you can't let your jealousy or your attachment to this situation or your expectations from this situation to get in the way of creating something beautiful. Instead, focus on the possibilities. Focus on belief and faith and love. Focus on kindness and care and realizing that we are all humans and we all fuck up sometimes because that's the way it is. And that's what's going to get you the furthest in this situation. Werewolf, exploring wildness. Skull of darkness, blind spots. Dawn, the light after the darkness. So, you've been in the darkness with a lot of blind spots, facing those blind spots, seeing those, illuminating them, figuring them out. What is it that I wasn't seeing before? What is it that I'm not wanting to see? Being able to explore those things, maybe even when it comes to, okay, so in a room full of liars, all my demons reappear. I think the song is called Pain. It's like when you have a lot of deceptive people around you and you can pick up on the lies when you don't know exactly what they're lying about. But if you have been through a lot with liars in your life, then you may have quite a bit of PTSD surrounding those lies. And so your mind may come up with the worst case scenario and start feeding it that fear and that anxiety, that destruction, that need to escape, or that need to fight and lash out and attack, that need to survive. That need to not be hurt in the ways that you have been hurt in the past. Because when we are hurt, it leaves a mark. It leaves a reminder for later for us to avoid that hurt again. And some lies can be the most painful thing on earth. The most painful thing on earth. Although some lies can stop the most painful thing on earth. So as a reminder, there's a time and place for that one where it has a light side too. Everything has it. But when you are building something with someone and they are holding something back and or lying about something, deception by omission a lot of times, and they're feeling guilty about it, and you can see that on them, that kind of thing. And you've dealt with a lot of lies in the past, or you've dealt with a lot of cheating in the past, or you've dealt with a lot of whatever else in the past. Your mind's going to jump to some conclusions, and you're going to be facing a lot of fear. You're going to be facing that night. It's going to be getting you riled up. You're going to be exploring that inner beast. Become the Beast by Carlene. That's a really good one too. We don't have to hide. Look in the mirror and tell me, what is it you see? Is it still you, or is it me? Because both parties are having something going on at that point. Something that's pulling on them. Making them feel like a monster for the way that they're behaving, or something along those lines, or making them feel like the other person's a monster for the way that they're behaving. Getting triggered by each other and exploring those things within themselves. Some of the parts that you're exploring of yourself right now are the things that you didn't even know were in there. You are exploring what your shadow is. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You have both sides of those within you. You have both shadow and light within you. And so exploring these shadow sides is extremely important, because it helps you to shine a light on what could possibly be inside you. Just as much as it helps to shine a light on what could possibly be inside the other person. But still, it requires us to get into that peaceful state, that calm state, to take care of ourselves so that we can handle and address whatever is coming from the highest vibrational state. We can't allow ourselves to go into that darkness and live there and dwell there, because when whatever it is comes up and comes out, you're going to be handling it in a way that you don't want to be handling it in, for whatever reason. Whether that means losing everything you have, or whether that means, because, say, it's kind of like thinking, I'm not going to be able to afford the rent and be able to get anything else done. I'm just not going to be able to do it in that complete state of lack like that. There's no way. And then taking that paycheck and putting it into a casino, because maybe I can make it more. Maybe I can make it more. And you know, going in there with $20 once in a while and throwing it in the casino, that's not bad. Just to see, you know, hey, maybe I'll get something. Maybe I won't. But I'm going to have fun for an hour. That's no problem. If you have the extra, who cares what you do with your time? For fun and entertainment. But when you're in that state of lack and you're like, maybe I could make this more. Maybe I can make this more. I need more than what I have right now. And you go into a casino and you throw your whole fucking paycheck in there. And now you have no money for rent at all. Whereas in the past, you might have been able to come up with some way, or if you prayed, maybe it would have came to you in some way, or maybe you could have asked. And yeah, maybe there was a lot of people around you that were refusing to help in any way. So maybe you did do that. It's time to forgive yourself for the things that you have done while you were in that shadow side. And to realize that you're human and you still do deserve love. Say your kitten latches onto your leg. You're still going to love him later, right? You're not just going to decide, oh, I don't like you because you have clawed me once. Throw you out the door. You don't belong here anymore. Not when you love them, you don't. And same thing with you. You're going to be really feeling a lot of light after this period of darkness. It's going to be coming in. It's going to be illuminating things. It's going to be helping you to see things as they are. There's going to be a lot of things coming out. There's going to be a lot of secrets that are being exposed. There's going to be a lot of feelings that are being expressed. And a lot of what you're going to be expressing, especially, is the wisdom that you have inside of you, the knowledge that you have inside of you, the knowing that you have inside of you. You're also going to be feeling a very great knowing and awareness as well of what's going on. Your senses are going to be very heightened. And you're going to be very tuned in, very aware of your surroundings and what's in them. Hi, Entwining Roots. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. The Star and the Knight of Wands. You're really feeling this very great desire to charge forward as fast as you can towards something. But remember that sometimes when we move too impulsively, we can really create a lot more problems than we need to create for ourselves. And also, sometimes when you approach things too quickly, you kind of end up in this state of like jumping out there and then jumping back. You kind of end up in a very hot and cold energy. There's really a need to think a bit more too. You're really, the period that you have gone through in the past was really exploring your passions, exploring your desires, exploring what you wanted and where you wanted to go, where your passion was at, where your inspiration was at. You were learning new perspectives and understandings of yourself and the world around you. And from an outside perspective, might have looked somewhat like a player. Or somebody that was, playing games in whatever way. Somebody that wasn't really very serious about what they were doing. Or really wasn't sure of what they wanted. And vice versa. You could have you were dealing with a lot of people that were exactly like this too at that time. You were dealing with your image in the mirror. The world was reflecting it back to you. And it may not have came out as exactly the same picture. It may have been a very distorted view of who you were. Maybe the view of who you were that you were seeing was one that you did not like. And now you've learned a lot more about that and about how that particular person that was behaving in that particular way was in that same energy that you were, but they were handling it in a different way. That your way was not necessarily the best way either. That doesn't make theirs better, but it does make you realize that, maybe they're not as evil as you might have been thinking they were at that time, because they're just human, just like you're just human. So you've been humbling yourself a bit and learning and growing and understanding yourself and the world around you a lot more, coming to new conclusions, thoughts, and ideas, and really learning how to focus on the light when you're in the dark, to have hope within you, for the light to come shining back through, even at the darkest moments. Being at peace in the darkness, knowing it has purpose, no longer being afraid of the dark or the monsters under the bed or the monsters inside of every single human being, including me and you. Because there is a monster inside of every one of us. A lot of people want to say wolves are evil. Wolves are loyal. Wolves protect and defend their family. If a wolf finds a baby of another species, it will take it home and raise it. Wolves aren't evil, but they do have a beast inside of them. And that beast inside of them allows them to murder whatever is coming after their baby, to murder it before it can. It allows them to be able to hunt, to feed their family. It allows them to be able to pay attention to their surroundings, listen to their instincts. And all of those things have both good and bad sides too. Having sharp instincts and sharp eyesight, sharp reflexes, those things can be extremely deadly, which can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you're looking at it. Because yes, they can hunt down those defenseless, tiny does who are so innocent and sweet and pure. Also, probably have some of their own bad sides, and take them out. And it can also stand up and fight and defend the defenseless children around it with those same skills. And those are all a part of the same being. And those are all a part of you and me. So remembering that is also very important when it comes to dealing with others. That is what I have for today's reading, guys, and I really appreciate all of you being here. Thank you so much for your donations today and for the purchases you guys made. Thank you for the comments, the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. You too, Rashima. Thank you. And I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for being here today. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading, and I hope you guys have a beautiful night or day, whatever it is, wherever you are when you're watching. Bye-bye, guys. You're welcome, Rashima. Thank you.